Hey guys, Ryan here, and in this video I'm going to be covering how to install and use the chaotic AUR with Arch Linux, EndeavourOS and Manjaro Linux. One of the biggest advantages of using Arch-based distributions is having access to the Arch user repository or the AUR. So this is a collection of unofficial submitted user scripts that install everything from software to GitHub projects, and it's typically something that's not included with a distribution's default repositories. However, one downside of using the AUR is that in most cases, you're going to be building the software from scratch, which can be time consuming if you've got a weak spec machine. Enter the chaotic AUR, which is an automatic built-in repo for AUR packages. In other words, you can download the pre-built software rather than building it from scratch yourself. So just a word of warning, both the AUR and chaotic AUR are both unofficial, and this means that from time to time you might find that some scripts will break, and also the pre-built software may not be up to date. However, what I strongly recommend you do is setting up timeshift on your system so that if anything does actually go wrong, you can always restore back to a previous checkpoint. In fact, I recommend that everyone uses timeshift regardless of what Linux distribution you end up using, and it only takes a couple of minutes to set up, but you'll find it'll be a lifesaver later on. So the first step is to add chaotic AUR support. Now to add this support, we need to install the keyring and mirrorlist for the repo, and we can do this with a few terminal commands, and then later on I'm going to make a config edit to the pacman-config file. First, let's open up a terminal window and run the following command. Sudo pacman-key recv-key, reference the key, and then keyserver.ubuntu.com. Press enter. Next we need to import the key, which you can do with sudo pacman-key, lsign-key, and then once again referencing the key. And then finally, we need to add the mirror list, which we can do with sudo pacman-u, and then http, and then reference the address. Press Y to confirm. And now we need to make an edit to the pacman-config file. The easiest way to do that is to use a text editor such as Nano. We can install Nano using sudo pacman-s nano. Press Y to confirm. And then if we path our way to where the pacman.config file is located, which we can do with sudo nano/etc/pacman.conf. In the config file itself, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and just make sure that you've added chaotic-AUR in the square brackets, and then include equals etc/pacman.d/chaotic-mirrorlist. Press Ctrl and X to save that. And then finally, we need to update our system, which we can do with sudo pacman-syu. So at this point, the chaotic AUR is now installed on your system. So the second step of the process is to actually install software from the chaotic AUR. Now that we've added support, we can actually install software using the normal way that you'd install using an Arch-based distribution, and that's using the pacman command from the terminal. For example, to install Spotify, I would type sudo pacman-s and then Spotify. Press Y to confirm, and then Spotify is now installed from the chaotic AUR. However, I prefer a GUI method. Specifically, I'm going to be using pacman. Now, if you're using Manjaro, this is already pre-installed by default, but I will leave instructions in this video of how to actually install it on Arch Linux and EndeavourOS. But either way, once you've installed pacman, launch the application as normal. So once again, let's install Spotify. However, this time we're going to be using pacman. So let's search for it in the search bar. And as you can see, there's many options that will appear. If we have a look under repository, we have the option here to install it from the chaotic AUR. We go to the AUR tab, we have the option to install it from the AUR. And then finally under the Flatpak tab here, we have the option to install the Spotify Flatpak. In my case, I'm going to go for the chaotic AUR version. So let's give this package a little tick, click apply at the bottom, confirm the prompt. And then after a couple of moments, Spotify will now be installed on your system. So to prove it works, let's launch it from the taskbar. There you go, all installed. So with that, you've now installed the chaotic AUR on your system as a great alternative to building manually from the AUR. So just a couple of final points to make. The chaotic AUR will take priority over any software that you previously installed using the AUR. In other words, if there's a build available in the chaotic AUR, it will now take priority and will replace any builds that you've previously built from scratch. So in conclusion, the chaotic AUR is a great alternative or when you want to install complex software from the AUR and you don't want to have to build it from scratch, or you've maybe got a lower powered machine, or if you want to just simply save some time. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you did find this video helpful, then you know what to do. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.